My stepmom organized a family gathering and requested that I give her one of my kidneys because she was supposedly dying from kidney disease. I spent the next 2 months torn apart by the decision and eventually said yes, only to learn it had all been a deliberate test to check whether I really loved her. All right, let me get directly to the point. 2 months back, my stepmother called everyone together for what she called an important family discussion. To give some context, our household consists of just me, my father, and her. She does have a biological daughter, but they have zero contact. They're completely estranged. A bit more background. 3 years ago, my biological mother passed away. My father was devastated. Some time later, he met my stepmother. At that point, she was still legally married to another man and already had a daughter from that relationship. Despite being married, she began an affair with my dad. When her husband found out about the affair, he kicked her out immediately. After that, she moved in with us. Not long afterward, my father and stepmother began a public relationship. Once her divorce was finalized, things became even messier. Her daughter, who was old enough to grasp the full situation, felt deeply betrayed by her mother's actions and chose to cut all ties. She refused any further relationship with her. My stepmother attempted to gain custody and repair things, but her daughter wanted nothing to do with living with her. Over the years, the gap only widened. Eventually, the daughter relocated to another country and basically eliminated all contact. She also has no relationship with her ex-husband anymore, and most of her extended family has distanced themselves too. They hold her responsible for destroying their family unit, so they've mostly cut her off. Right now, my stepmother basically has no one except my father and me. She's made it very clear that she views the two of us as her only real family and main support system. When she insisted I come to this urgent family meeting, I assumed it was nothing unusual. But I was completely blindsided when she announced that her doctor recently told her she had severe kidney problems that would progress to total kidney failure. The statement struck me like lightning. I could see her fighting back tears as she spoke. She was visibly terrified. She said she wasn't prepared to die yet. Hearing her speak like that shattered something inside me. I could see genuine fear in her eyes. She explained that she and my father had already discussed possible solutions. I glanced at my dad, hoping he would speak, but he remained completely silent throughout. His expression was heavy with sorrow. Clearly, the news was crushing him too. I didn't know what to say. I was still trying to absorb everything. Even though she entered my life later, I had genuinely grown to love her. She had consistently been there for me, giving advice, showing affection, acting like a true parental figure. She had also brought real happiness back into my father's life. The idea of losing her felt unbearable. I couldn't bear the thought of her dying after we had built this family together. My voice broke as I asked what I could possibly do to help. I was frantic to find any way to make things better. I suggested getting more medical opinions, seeing different specialists, anything. But she gave me this heavy, tired look and quietly said they had already done that. They had consulted multiple experts and received the same grim diagnosis each time. Her condition was too advanced. The only realistic option remaining was a kidney transplant. The room seemed to go completely quiet. After a long pause, she took a deep breath and said she needed a new kidney. My stomach fell. I knew what was coming, but nothing could have prepared me. Looking nervous, she said she realized how enormous the request was. But since we have a compatible blood type, she wanted to know if I would consider donating one of my kidneys to her. I sat there stunned. The idea of donating a kidney had never even crossed my mind as a possibility. It felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. This was an enormous, irreversible choice. I stared at her, probably looking completely lost. Sensing my shock, my father finally spoke. He immediately assured me there was zero obligation, that I shouldn't feel forced in any way. I appreciated his words, but the heaviness of the situation didn't disappear. My stepmother also tried to reduce the tension. She promised she would never force me and that the decision was entirely mine. Then she added the words that made everything feel even more intense. If I agreed, I might actually save her life. That's when her emotions spilled over. Her voice trembled as she poured out how terrified she was of dying. She kept saying over and over that she didn't want to die. She spoke about how much she regretted many of her past choices. The raw pain in her voice was impossible to ignore. She said she desperately wanted another chance to live better, to become a better person. In that moment, I couldn't respond. The shock, the emotional weight, the pressure, it was all too much. I asked for time to think. At first, she seemed to accept that. She said there was no rush, that I should take as long as I needed, and that she wouldn't pressure me. I wanted to trust her words. But over the following 2 months, she brought it up constantly. Almost every week she would ask whether I had reached a decision yet. What started as a single request turned into a constant reminder hanging over me. At first I tried to be patient. I understood her fear. But gradually it began feeling like emotional manipulation. She repeatedly emphasized that I held her life in my hands, as though refusing would mean I was choosing to let her die. The more she repeated it, the more guilty and trapped I felt. What began as a request slowly transformed into something that felt like coercion. Throughout all of this, my father stayed mostly silent. When I tried discussing it with him privately, he always said he would support whatever I ultimately decided. He insisted there was no pressure from him. But his neutrality sometimes felt like quiet expectation that I would agree. So I was caught between crushing guilt on one side and my own genuine feelings on the other. Reddit, would I be wrong if I ultimately refused to donate my kidney to my stepmother? Update 1, thank you so much for the overwhelming support, private messages, and personal stories. Reading about both positive and difficult kidney donation experiences has been incredibly helpful. Many people asked similar questions in the comments and DMs, so I'll answer the most common ones here. Have you been tested to confirm you're actually a medical match? Not yet. We know we share the same blood type. That's why she asked me. But I haven't done the full compatibility testing because I'm still deciding. Do you feel pressured or emotionally manipulated? Yes, honestly, at first she said there was no pressure at all. But as time passed, she kept mentioning it more frequently, and it started feeling like emotional pressure, guilt tripping, even if she didn't intend it that way. Why are you even thinking about saying yes? Because despite everything, I truly care about her. She has been a consistent, loving presence in my life for years. She didn't raise me from childhood, but she has supported me through many difficult moments and always treated me with real affection. Knowing she has literally no one else makes it even harder. I asked whether she had contacted her daughter or any relatives. She said she tried, but nobody is willing. Seeing someone face a life-threatening situation with almost no support is heartbreaking, regardless of their past mistakes. That reality weighs heavily on me. What has your father said throughout this? He remains neutral. He repeatedly says it's my decision and he'll back me either way. But sometimes his silence feels like he's quietly hoping I'll say yes. Are you scared of the surgery and potential long-term risks? Absolutely. It's major surgery with real risks. Even though many people live healthy lives with one kidney, it's still a permanent change. The fear is definitely part of my hesitation. A few people also asked about possible causes of her kidney problems. I'm not a doctor, but knowing her history of occasional heavy weekend drinking and on and off smoking, especially during stressful periods, I suspect those habits contributed significantly over the years. She has tried quitting several times without lasting success. I plan to encourage them to seek additional medical opinions from other specialists. For now, I'm still undecided. I'm trying to balance fairness to her, to myself, and to my future. I'm taking it day by day and trying not to let guilt be my only guide. Thank you again. Your words have helped me more than you realize. Update 2, it's been roughly 2 weeks since my last post. I've spent this time thinking more intensely than I ever have before, weighing every angle, rereading comments, talking to friends, and sitting with my own emotions. After endless internal debate, I've finally reached a decision. I'm going to donate my kidney to my stepmother. This wasn't a quick or easy choice. But after everything, I kept returning to one core truth. She is my family. She has shown me real love and support. Despite her imperfect history, I've witnessed how hard she's tried to be part of my life. She's frightened and feels very alone. If I have the ability to give her more time, a chance to heal and improve, then I want to do it. Of course, I understand this is an enormous medical commitment. I'm not going into it blindly. We will start with all required medical evaluations to ensure it's safe for both of us. I haven't told them my decision yet. I wanted to be completely certain first. I plan to sit down with both of them this weekend. I'm bracing myself for the emotional reaction. I'm still nervous, this is huge. But underneath the nerves, I feel a quiet sense of peace. This choice comes from love, not guilt or pressure. Thank you to everyone who followed, supported, questioned, and shared your own experiences. You helped me reach this point. I'll post another update after I speak with them. Update 3, this is wild. Actually, insane might be more accurate. After weeks of emotional turmoil, countless internal arguments, and finally making what felt like the hardest decision of my life, I told my father and stepmother this weekend that I was willing to donate my kidney. I sat them down, feeling both anxious and calm, and explained my reasoning and why I had decided yes. At first, they looked shocked in a happy way. I thought they might even tear up. I reassured them that I was certain. Then my stepmother glanced at my dad, and both of them suddenly started laughing, full-on, uncontrollable laughter. I froze, completely confused. And then she said, "You passed the test, I'm so proud of you." I couldn't process it. She went on to explain that the entire story, the kidney failure, the diagnosis, the repeated check-ins, the emotional pressure, was fabricated. There is no illness, no kidney problem. None of it was real. It was all an elaborate test to see whether I truly accepted her as a mother figure and whether I was loyal enough to be considered real family. She even said the real purpose was to decide who should inherit her assets, me or her estranged biological daughter. And somehow, she had convinced my father to participate in this plan. I still can't fully comprehend it. I don't know how long they had been planning it. I don't understand how they thought this was acceptable. I don't know how they watched me suffer emotionally for months and considered it just part of the experiment. I felt physically nauseous. My head was spinning. I stared at them, praying it was some sick joke, but they were both smiling, almost proud of their cleverness. I turned to my father, desperate for him to say it wasn't true. Instead, he just nodded and said he was sorry for the stress, but my stepmother really needed to know whether I genuinely saw her as family. That broke something inside me. I exploded in anger. I screamed at them. 2 months. 2 whole months of mental and emotional agony. 2 months believing I might be saving a life, and it was all a twisted game. I shouted, "You faked a terminal illness just to test my loyalty. Do you even hear how insane that is?" I looked at my father and said, "You're my dad. You saw how much pain I was in. You watched me fall apart, and you just allowed it." Then I turned to my stepmother. "You lied to my face for months. You guilted me constantly. All of it was fake. You don't prove love by emotionally torturing someone." My voice was shaking with rage. Tears were threatening, but anger was stronger. I told them exactly how betrayed I felt. How impossible it would be to ever trust them the same way again. My stepmother kept interrupting, saying, "We didn't mean to hurt you, and now we know how much you care." But I couldn't even listen. Something inside me had shut down completely. I had walked in ready to give up an organ. I walked out questioning whether I even belonged in their lives anymore. I told them clearly, I want nothing from her, not her money, not any inheritance, not even her affection. I told them I wanted nothing more to do with either of them. My father immediately tried to stop me, talking quickly, saying they never intended to cause real harm, that it was supposed to bring us closer somehow. My stepmother added that she sees me more as a daughter than her own biological child, as if that somehow made everything okay. I just shook my head in disbelief. I felt completely disgusted. My heart felt crushed. I didn't argue anymore. I simply turned and walked out. Now they're upset with me. They keep calling and texting, acting like I'm the unreasonable one. They say, "Okay, maybe it went too far. But you're overreacting, and we promise we'll never do anything like this again." As if there should ever be a next time. As if this is something you just apologize for and move past. I don't know how anyone comes back from something like this. How do you rebuild trust with people who faked a deadly illness to test your devotion? That isn't love. That isn't family. Right now, I just need distance. The hurt is still too raw, and I don't think they truly grasp how deeply they wounded me. Update 4, it's been about a month since everything exploded. A lot has changed. After the fake kidney bombshell, the manipulation, and the betrayal, I blocked both my father and stepmother. I needed to protect my mental health. I needed silence and space. Then yesterday, my stepmother appeared at my door uninvited. I still don't know how she found my current address. I didn't let her inside, but we spoke at the doorway. She started crying almost instantly. She said she and my dad have been miserable since I cut contact, that he misses me terribly. Apparently, they've been arguing much more than usual, and a lot of the tension is because of what happened with me. She said she deeply regrets what they did, that they never imagined how much damage it would cause. Then she begged me to speak with them again. She said my dad feels lost without me, that the house feels empty. I stayed firm. I told her I'm still furious, especially with her. I couldn't comprehend why she would ever do something so cruel. Then she asked me to just listen for a moment. She acknowledged that she has no right to ask anything of me. She admitted it was wrong, cruel, and unforgivable. If she could undo it, she would. But she wanted me to understand her reasoning. She explained that losing her daughter destroyed her. Her daughter had been her whole world, and then, because she fell in love with my father while still married, her daughter cut her off completely. She doesn't blame her daughter, but the loss still broke her. Then she met me. Slowly, unexpectedly, I began treating her like family. I welcomed her, showed her kindness, something she never thought she'd experience again after what happened with her own child. She said it meant more to her than words could express. But underneath, she was always terrified. Terrified that one day I would reject her too. Terrified that my acceptance wasn't real. When it came time to think about her will, her insecurity took over. She convinced herself she needed absolute proof of where she stood with me. Proof that she really mattered to me the way I mattered to her. So she created this awful, twisted plan. She admitted she pressured my father into going along with it, even though he knew it was wrong. She said she knows she destroyed something precious, that she broke my trust in a way that might never be repaired. Then, with tears streaming, she looked straight at me and said, "I miss you. Your dad misses you. We're falling apart without you. I know it might be too late, but I needed you to hear the truth from me." I told her, as calmly as I could manage, that I still need more time, that I couldn't give her any promises right now. I wasn't trying to punish her. I simply didn't trust myself to make a permanent decision in that moment. She looked disappointed but accepted it. She nodded quietly, thanked me for at least listening, and left. As soon as she was gone, a huge wave of sadness hit me. Despite all the anger and hurt, I miss her. I miss my dad too. You can't just erase years of connection and stop caring overnight, no matter how badly they hurt you. But I also can't pretend what they did was acceptable. Every friend I've spoken to has said the same thing. What they did was emotional abuse, deliberate, calculated manipulation. They knew exactly how much pain they were causing, and they continued anyway just to test me. That is not love. That is not how family should ever behave. So yes, I miss them, but I'm still angry. Still confused. Still trying to figure out what healing could even look like after something this damaging. For now, keeping distance feels like the safest choice.